Hello, everyone. We are super happy to be live again with a super amazing topic and guest today. Um, if I'm getting the right confirmation, we are live right now. Uh, please say hi on LinkedIn, say hi on YouTube. Would love to know where you are. I'm in my home in San Francisco. I'm Felipe Hoffa, data cloud advocate, developer advocate for Snowflake. Let me introduce my guests today, or let them introduce themselves because they are great. Tash, how are you doing?
I'm doing great and so good to be here. Thanks everyone for joining. My name is Dash. I'm on the DevRel team focused on Snowpark.
Snowpark, I like that word. And look how all the beautiful people are saying hi on the chat. Who are our guests today, Dash?
We have Isaac. Isaac, go ahead.
Uh-huh. We cannot hear
We cannot
Isaac.
hear you,
Isaac.
Isaac.
Yes, Isaac, you look beautiful, but we cannot hear you. Please try some sign language. Did I mute Isaac? Oh,
You
yes,
sound
I mute Isaac. Oh,
You
no, it
mute
was my fault.
you mute
Isaac, I have
it's all
unmuted
good.
you. My
Oh,
apologies.
you
Yes.
made him unstructured.
you yes, something. Anyway, it's good to be here and able to talk. Yeah, I'm Isaac Cunin. I'm a product manager for Snowpark. So looking forward to this.
Hello, Isaac.
Soren, you're up.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm good to be, I'm glad to be here. I'm Soren Shah, product manager in Snowflake for storage and unstructured data.
Cool. So today we're going to talk about unstructured data support in Snowflake. We let me see what people are saying on the chat. We have people from Brazil, in Europe. We have people in Asia. This is really cool. New York.
Nice.
Um, Someone says that the stream is very low resolution on YouTube. I don't know if someone else can confirm, but at least on LinkedIn it looks fine. But Emmanuel on YouTube cannot read our names. Um, so yes, it looks good to our staff. But Emmanuel, if you cannot see it well on YouTube, join us on LinkedIn. So we had conversations before on this LinkedIn Live and this LinkedIn Live about unstructured data. Uh, I'm glad to say that we have some new developments that Serena and Isaac are ready to discuss. How would you like to get started, Dash?
Well, I think what we can do here is just explain like why processing unstructured data on Snowflake engine is really important and what does that do to our modern data analytics world.
Isaac, you
Either
want to
one
take
of
that?
you.
You want me to take that one? I
Yeah,
mean,
Isaac.
obviously, unstructured data has become. I mean, always has been, right? But a really huge part of the data that people have, and I think that with with a lot of the new technologies coming up to make more automated use of that data and actually build structure out of that unstructured data, it
Mhm.
makes it a much easier part to analyze. And so, that's a huge win for us in the sense that we can now bring that in and now analyze it together. So I think that's the big change I see.
Yeah, awesome. And just to add to that, I think over and over, I've heard a lot from customers that they want to centralize all of their data into a single repository. Snowflake already had very strong support for structured data, semi-structured data since a long time. And just to centralize everything into a single place, I mean, the support for unstructured data and processing unstructured data within the Snowflake environment just makes life much simpler for them. Now they can just have everything in one place, govern, process, manage everything in one place.
Yes. And
Mhm.
as you mentioned, processing data in Snowflake,
Yeah.
you recently, April 14th, sorry, you published a blog post that I would love to show people.
Yeah.
This is the ability in GA to do some processing in Snowpark. Can you tell us more about this?
Yeah, of course. So So we launched unstructured data, just the management of unstructured data, which is basically storing, managing, governing, accessing, all of that sometime last year. And that functionality we recently shipped in GA. And now we are moving on to the next process or the next part of this functionality, which is processing unstructured data in Snowpark. Previously, processing unstructured data was possible using external functions, but now we can do it in Snowpark, and which is what we just recently launched in public preview. I'm super excited about this functionality. Right now, what we have is you can store unstructured data in Snowflake. You can create Java functions, Java UDFs, UDTFs, and you can start processing it in using Snowpark and Java UDF. So all of the using this functionality, what happens is you can keep all of your unstructured data in Snowflake, and you can just process it in place. So you don't have to exfiltrate, you don't have to move it outside. So it's very cool. You can take advantage of all of Snowflake's distributed parallel processing and Snowflake's warehouse and all of the goodness that Isaac built over the last couple of years, and take advantage of all of that for unstructured data now.
Yeah, I think these are really sort of a match made in heaven, right? That is, you've got
Yeah,
Snowflake's engine that really does well with all of this very structured data, and then this native code or this custom code that you want to bring and actually extract that structure from your unstructured data, and now you can blend these together right in one place, right? And that one you're keeping that in one place. You mentioned exfiltration, right? Which is one benefit of having that single sort of compute platform, but there are a bunch of them, right? It simplifies everything. It keeps you more secure.
Hmm.
And it gives you one set of things to manage. I think that unification that these two features together bring is super powerful.
yeah, yeah.
That's great. So, what are some of the top use cases you think that are going to really benefit from what Snowflake is, putting it out there, providing for end users?
Yeah, I can take that, and maybe Isaac, you can add later on more to that. So we talked about this, just keeping everything in one place,
Hmm.
and you can imagine keeping, you have your medical reports, you have medical images, you have financial reports, which is highly confidential, but all unstructured data. Now you are storing that in Snowflake because Snowflake is approved as a HIPAA and has many different compliance, PCI and ISO and all those compliance. Now to process that data, you don't want to ship that data outside to another service, process it, and then bring it back again. So a lot of our customers are especially very, very interested. They have already started trying, and then many of them are also very interested in processing that in place within the Snowflake environment itself. And that includes clinical notes, includes financial reports, it includes forms, mortgage documents, just a long list of items or list of unstructured data that can be handled or processed within Snowflake. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, in terms of the scenarios, you look at where the common bits of unstructured data are, and they're everything from audio files, images, as Soren says, things like medical records, which combine often a lot of very free-form text, documents, PDF documents, imagery of very specific sorts. These are where your scenarios come from. Is I've got this data, and what do I do with it? How do I do something with that data that has been kind of locked away in a format that makes it very unwieldy? And now you have a place to store it and a place to host the code and sort of glue that together with other processing. I think the scenarios really flow from the data in a lot of cases. And then, yeah, keeping it inside Snowflake. It's all of those having that single store in that single place, and everything that Soren is talking around. We have the security, we have the HIPAA compliance. It gives you that reliable place to host the data and the compute now. But the scenarios ultimately flow from the data and wanting to get more value out of that data that before was locked away from real processing.
Yeah, I mean, you've shown us previously, like now that we can process with the UDFs inside of Snowflake. For example, if you are receiving
Yeah.
PDFs, you can extract
Mm.
data from it.
Yes, yeah,
And
definitely. And I think Felipe, you may want, if you have some links, you can show that. But we added a few quick start guides for these ones, and one of them, oh yeah, there is this, right? Analyzing PDF invoices using Java UDFs, and there was one more, a few
Hmm.
more examples that we added about DICOM images. So these are DICOM images are very very popular in healthcare industry, like all your X-rays, chest scans, CT scans, all of that, and you can extract attributes from these, all within the Snowflake environment using Java UDFs. There are some other examples which customers have done, and we are also trying to open source some of these and put as many examples as we can out there for all common customer cases.
yeah, I love how people can find these quick starts online and just get started with these functions. They have PDFs, they have decom files, they can go step by step. This is all out in the wild, ready for them to test it. And of course, if anyone has tried this and has questions, they can ask them live. For example, now LinkedIn user is asking about the cost in compute when they're doing the processing inside of Snowflake.
Well,
Yeah.
do you want to take this, Soren?
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's actually at some level a very simple answer, right? Is obviously we charge for the warehouse usage, and all of that compute that you're doing just accrues to that. There's no additional charges for this. We want to make this as useful a platform for all the compute, and then it's a very simple story from a charging perspective.
Yeah. And this functionality is available for all editions, right,
Yeah,
Joseph?
absolutely, right. All of this, I think a general principle, all when we differentiate things in additions, one thing we do want to keep consistent is that kind of programming platform, right? So you should be able to take your same code and really run it anywhere. So this is core programmability. We're going to make it available to everybody, and yeah, use it. It's great.
Yeah, so we talked about processing or working with emails and things like that. Some PII information that could be in there, things of that nature. So, how does security and governance of unstructured data work in Snowflake?
Yeah, I can take that. That's a very good question. So, as we have repeatedly said, like Snowflake customers want to centralize all of their data into Snowflake,
Hmm.
and so security and governance is actually very important. And this is what we launched as part of the unstructured data V1, if I would say V1, which we recently made generally available. All of the Snowflake's RBAC functionalities, which is very simple, like you can just say grant read to on some stage or some folder to a particular role. All of these grant revoke privileges, they work for unstructured data. So that's like the basic security and governance. But on top of that, we have added some very fine grained controls as well. So we released something called file URLs and scoped URLs. So file URLs is, it's like a REST API call to get your
Mm.
unstructured data, and you have to authenticate with your OAuth authentication and make a REST API call from your application to get your unstructured data. With scoped URLs, you go even further. So you basically, like imagine that Dash, you there is a folder in Snowflake where there is lots and lots of invoices, and you should have access only to a few set of them. You shouldn't have access to the
Hmm.
entire folder. So I can create scoped URLs for only those invoices and give it to you, and no matter what you do, you will have access only to those files. And the best part is, even if you share those with Felipe, like Felipe won't have access because that scoped URL will be locked to your username, so only you will have access to it. So this is like fine grained governance that we have added for unstructured data. And then the others, just to last point on all the other data governance functionalities like row level security and column level security, all of that map to unstructured data as well. So you could create row level for row filter policies, and you could filter out all of the unstructured data that you don't want to give access to any other people. So all in uh, all of the Snowflake security governance functionalities map directly to unstructured data.
Yeah, so we have
Nice.
scope URLs, file URLs, and pre-signed URLs that are good for different specific cases. Like what
Yes.
level of security do you need, and who do you want to show this data to, and who you don't want to see this data. You have the control of it.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
that's super cool. Um, I have a performance-related question on from Emmanuel, who moved from YouTube to LinkedIn to follow us. Uh, the question is about, like, let's say I want to process a lot of PDFs, a lot of images with Java UDF. How do we achieve parallelism while performing this task? Is Snowflake doing the magic?
Yes.
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 Snowflake does the magic. No, so I mean, by the way, Emmanuel, thank you for following us. This is great. I'm glad
Yes,
you're able
thank
to get
you.
us on LinkedIn. So I think about it two ways, right? So first off, we will distribute these operations out over the cluster for you, right? You're embedding your unstructured data operations in your inquiries, and we know how to parallelize those. We do a great job of that. So if you've got a function, for example, it's going to look at images and I don't know, extract entities from them. This one's a cute kitty cat, and that one's a cute puppy, right? We can take that trivially parallelizes, and we know how to do that. We'll push that out over a cluster. And so, yeah, you're right. It's not going to be done necessarily at the micro partition layer because these aren't stored in those same micro partitions, but we do still know how to distribute those out. But the other I think powerful piece here is that in a lot of cases you have data that you can extract some structure on. So take those images, right? And maybe I've got those cute kitty cats, and I only want to run some processing on that. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to bubble up some of that structured data. Here are the entities, and store those in our structured stores, where we can then use that for filtering. And then if you want to do additional processing on only the kitties, you can do the processing only on the kitties. And again, that will then make use of the micro partitions to do filtering, and you'll only access the data you really need to. And so we can bind those fairly tightly together. And so, yeah, we'll distribute when we can, and we'll do filtering when you surface the information that lets us do it, and that happens then pretty automatically.
Yeah. So Isaac, like let's say if I have 1,000 images to process,
Right.
can I just pass in all 1,000 images and Snowflake will just distribute them across different threads, different machines?
Yeah, and actually, we're making improvements to make sure that happens. Right. Snowflake generally likes to process things in sort of buckets, but when you look at files in particular, you really want that like per row redistribution out.
Mhm.
And so we are making some tuning there, so nobody has to worry about this. We should just get that distribution.
Yeah.
Right.
In general, like Snowflake should take care of all of it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a perfect answer. Snowflake takes care of it.
Mhm.
It distributes the workload. It goes file by file, but also you get all of the usual performance
That's
uh, abilities.
that's right. And I'll say, obviously Snowflake grew up working on structured data. Unstructured data is a bit new, and we're still ironing out all the gaps. This is why we go through previews, right? Is that it helps us iron out all of these gaps. But we're aiming for the same kind of it just works attitude for all this unstructured data that we have with structured data. And I don't know. I think we're doing a good job so far. And if there are rough patches, that's really for us to iron out. And I think that's the beauty of Snowflake is that we iron them out. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Nice.
So what about some of the details around the data types? If you don't mind me asking such a detailed technical level question. I know you can answer it, but I'm just trying to figure out if we can explain it to some of our users,
Yeah.
the data
No,
types that we support
that's
here.
a very good question, Dash. So I get this question quite a lot. Like, what is unstructured data?
Mm-hmm.
And it's very related to the data types question that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer which I generally give is like any file is an unstructured data. It's really how you see it.
Hmm.
So unstructured data is not just images or videos or documents. It's basically anything that file can bring in. And some of the common examples is like, one customer said like they have very custom file formats. It's very structured. There are rows and columns in that file format, but it's very custom, and there are some headers, so they know how to parse it. There is no other industry tool that can parse it. So can they treat this as unstructured data and bring their Java function in on Snowflake? Absolutely, yeah, they can. So to basically summarize, we are not restricting to any data type. You can bring in any file, as long as you have a piece of Java code to understand that file. You are good. You can run that on Snowflake.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I would just, I would double down on that a little bit. Is I think that's a really interesting piece of glue. Is one man's unstructured data is another man's
Hmm.
structure, and if you can find that structure, and you can help us now, you can provide the code to understand your very specific structure in your data, then you can really light up a lot more scenarios than if you have to trudge through just sort of this complete unstructured morass every time you work with your data. And so I think there's a fairly common pattern where you come in with data that you call unstructured, and you extract some structure from it, and that could be, hey, this really is a table of data, but it's just a format that nobody else has heard of. And
Hmm.
now we can extract a table, and now you've got a table, and performance on of doing anything with a table is going to be better. Or it could be images, and I'm going to extract keywords, and now I can filter based on those. This is a pretty common pattern that if you have to trudge through the bits every time you do something, it's gonna always be slower. But here we're giving you tools to do that when you need to, and extract the structure when you can, and make use of the structure that you have extracted to really light up scenarios and performance that you couldn't otherwise.
Yeah, it makes
Um,
sense.
I have a hot question from a lot of people watching us now, Kartikeyan and more. And I know we never give dates, but everyone is wondering, when will Python come to my region? When will Python Snowpark come to my or to my Snowflake account in this cloud? What can we tell them in the meantime?
Well, I saw the question specifically around Azure, and I will just sort of set people's mind at ease. I know that with the Java and Scala work that we've done, there was this kind of slow rollout where we did it for certain clouds and others. We're really trying to move things forward, across everyone together as we go forward. And so I don't think I think we tend to do things first for AWS. It is sort of our most popular platform, but we don't want to do that, and we're not trying to do that here. In terms of exact dates, it is in preview now in a private sense, right? So it's sort of a limited access right now. That will be rolling out. I don't know. The lawyers will probably come me for this. I will use the word soon. Stay tuned. It's coming.
I think we'll find more at Summit.
Summit.
I
What
didn't.
is Summit? And why are you excited about it?
What's this summit you talk about?
Why don't you go, Felipe?
Ooh, we are all waiting for you in Vegas, June 13th to June 16th. We will have a lot of cool announcements. I cannot tell you what because we need to wait until June, but that will be a great place to meet all of us. And if you cannot go to Vegas, to be online looking for all our updates. But hopefully you can come. Do you have sessions for Vegas, Isaac, Sorin?
Yeah, Sri, who's sort of my counterpart on the PM team on Snowpark, we're doing a session on what's new in Snowpark, and I will tell you some of what's new will be new. It's good.
Cool. Yes. So if people are
Yeah.
not convinced of coming, they can go to the agenda and see, for example, everything that Isaac is going to present. What's new with the Snowpark on Wednesday at 1 p.m. And what about Sorin?
I have a unstructured data and Snowpark session on Thursday.
Very tough.
Cool. Unlock the value of unstructured data using Snowpark with Jonathan.
Yep. So we-
Nice. Dash also has cool sessions at Summit.
At least 4.
At
Whoa.
least 4.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
You're a busy man.
I'm repeating one, so maybe it doesn't count. Maybe
Wow.
3.
Still.
Data collaboration.
Still, yeah.
Snowpark for Python.
In
Snowpark
20
for Python at the
minutes.
Summit. And climate collaboration and more Snowpark for Python. Cool, yes.
And for all
So-
of my sessions, I will be using Snowpark for Python.
Yes, which might be in public preview by then or not, but that's a forward-looking statement, so the lawyers always tell me to not promise any dates.
Mhm.
But yes, please.
No,
Felipe, there's-
the lawyers will come get you. You gotta be careful.
Yes, that's why I'm not telling anyone when things will go on public preview.
Correct.
We are safe. Yes. And of course, Dan Widman is asking us if we have any recommended sessions to attend. Of course, Sorin's, Isaac, Dash. You can also search for my sessions. But anything else you think that could be really cool?
I actually have to look through the whole catalog myself, but yeah, I think we've got a bunch of sessions on Python, on data engineering, on data science with these features, and so
Machine learning.
I don't know. There's a huge number. It's very hard to answer that without knowing what your specific interests are. But I think there's probably something for everybody at Summit.
The keynotes will definitely be very interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. Do not miss the keynote. So yes, we have 2 minutes before we close this. Any last questions that you have?
Felipe, I saw one very interesting question. I would like to take that one. So
Uh-huh.
there was a question where is unstructured data processing cloud agnostic? Like the file resides on GCP, but can you process them from Snowpark in AWS? Like you can do that. So yes, absolutely. Everything in Snowflake, we try to make it as cloud agnostic as possible. So if you have files in AWS and you want to process in GCP or vice versa, you can completely do that. Just watch out for egress fees, because if you are loading very large unstructured data files from GCP to AWS, GCP is going to charge you egress fees for that. So just I would say watch out for that.
Yeah, I think that the cross cloud performance would be the only caveat. But should it work? Yeah, it should.
Exactly. Yeah, I love, that I used to work at GCP, so I still have a lot of files there, and I have my Snowflake account in Amazon, and I usually write queries and move data across clouds. It works seamlessly, but of course, it takes time to move bytes through the network, so it's slower than just doing it locally in the same region.
Yeah, there's this pesky thing about physics, right? So you gotta move it. It takes some time, but yeah. But other than that, yeah, everything we aim to do should be cloud agnostic. So that's sort of nice.
Yes. So we are on time. How do you want to close this? Dash, Sorin, Isaac.
How do you usually close these?
Yes, but any words before I say the last word?
I see.
Follow us, subscribe to us, find us on Twitter, Reddit, LinkedIn. Find us here. You
Twitter,
already found us.
LinkedIn.
I haven't
The Summit Sessions.
I haven't prepared any pithy comments. I'm sorry.
But thanks everyone for joining for sure. And then Isaac and Soren, your time as well. Thank you so much.
Happy to join you.
And Felipe as
Great
well.
to be with all of you here. Thank you. Let's call the bear. Bye.